Hello everyone. Can somebody please confirm if I'm audible? Yes, thank you. I had to join again because the first time around I was not audible. Thank you. Thank you everyone for confirming. So today's lecture will be on social cyber forensic and it will be given by one of our cosmographers, Sayantan Bhattacharya, and he is the senior PhD student at Cosmos Research Center. So we'll begin shortly. Before that, I would also like to inform you guys that your next assignment, which is gonna be one of the part for the final project that you will submit. I did talk to professor today and it should be up next week. So you'll probably see the updates on the Blackboard. Will try and update what you need to turn in and when is the deadline and what are the different instruction for that assignment. So that's that. Apart from that, if you guys have any question, concerns regarding your last assignment, have any questions for any of the presenters that we have had, please reach out to us. Thank you. Santan, you want to start?
Yes, let me share my screen first. Are you guys able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Um, okay, so hello everyone. My name is Saintan, and I am currently working on my PhD at Department of Information Science, also working in Cosmos Research Center. So today we are going to discuss about a topic which is called social cyber forensics. Uh, this topic basically looks into the hidden connections among information actors in the virtual environment, or let's say in the social media environment. So this is going to be a short session because several things which we are going to discuss today we did as a part of Cosmos project few years ago, and the context which we are going to talk about maybe a little bit seems a little bit old for some of you, but yeah, so all the methodologies or the approach we used to analyze this kinds of work is still relevant, and yeah, let's see how it works. So the topics we are going to cover today is we first going to talk about the social cyber forensics and the concept of it, specific sets of methodologies which helps us to understand that hidden connections by collecting metadata, and also as a part of our agency work, there are a couple of use case we have worked on. I will try to talk about those as well. So let's start. So first, let's talk about what is social cyber forensics. So when we are talking about the cyber forensics, um, this forensics means essentially collecting and analyzing data to understand how and why something happens. To understand that, we try to collect data, we try to understand the methodologies, we try to understand the flow of events which leads to this particular incident. Now, in a legal way, when we try to do that, we are trying to collect evidence which can be later used to, prevent a crime or any kind of dispute where evidence is stored digitally. Now, when we talk about social cyber forensics, it's actually a branch of cyber forensics that in this particular case, we try to investigate the data about two different entities. Now, these entities can be any organizations, any single actors, any states, any nations, any individual politicians, any like oligarch, it can be anything. So the understanding, we try to understand here the connections between them and how that particular connections mean some things, and try to understand these connections with the further evidence like metadata or social media profiles or the posting scenarios or in other kinds of sharings of a specific social media post and etc. So basically, if you are more interested in this, as I said, it will be a short sessions. If you are more interested, these two are books which is available. If you want to give it a try, you can do that. But there are several ways the social cyber forensics are implemented. So whenever we see some kinds of misinformation or conspiracy in a social media websites, the first thing which comes to our mind is like who started this kinds of conspiracy, like where does it even, how somebody could have think about it. So if somebody has a malicious attempt to make us, cognitively influence us into doing something, then they have to first convince us on that particular fact, right? And afterwards, when we are convinced of that fact, we will also take part on spreading that particular conspiracy as well. We will talk about it, we will share those conspiracy in the social media websites, and that is how it usually works. But the main difficult part is to making you believe that this crazy theories or this misinformation is actually happened somewhere. So this is one of the example. This particular methodology is called cross media disinformation campaigns. So disinformation is always like, if I tell every one of the attendees here that, today I noticed that sun rises in the west, so obviously people will not believe it. There is a way, if I try to say these things in a larger audience and, more larger audience like 1 million people, some way I am able to reach, I am able to inform this misinformations to a larger amount of people. At some point of time, there will be few people who will think in this way, like, if this person is telling this again and again, and I am seeing these informations in different places as well, different social media as well, there might be a droplet of truth behind this particular information or misinformations. And that is the main agenda behind this kinds of campaign messaging, that to create a doubt in a user's mind. So this is one of the example what we worked on. So as you can see, there is a anti-NATO propaganda. So basically, this was the context is um, Russia military intervention in Syria. So Russia formally entered in the Syrian civil war in late September 2015, and just to fight ISIS and support Assad regime. However, many observers later argued that a large share of Russian strikes actually hit non-ISIS oppositions groups rather than only targeting ISIS, which kind of fueled a narrative that Russia was trying to suppress the political oppositions under the guise of a counter-terrorism. And To counter the narrative, actually, Russia and allied media have often portrayed NATO and Western powers as destabilizing actors, either covertly supporting jihadis or creating proxy wars. I mean, there has been multiple incidents regarding this. So, for this particular case, it says like NATO troops might intervene or protect militants are part of this propaganda. So first thing what we noticed when we received this particular incident as a case study, we noticed that we saw some of the videos in the YouTube channel, and surprisingly, the channel was named Anti-NATO. And afterwards, we were noticing these kinds of videos were also being shared in different blogs and also different kind of websites which actually host these informations. So the idea behind that is, if this particular propaganda videos are shared in different platforms, it there is a possibility that it will reach to many more audience and different kind of audience, because not all the people use blogs, not all the people use social media. Some people use maybe, let's say, some news related websites as well. So if you see in the downside, this is how we detected after lots of permutation combinations and several helps from our subject matter expert, that this particular propaganda started from a blog websites, 4chan. This is an unmoderated blog websites. I'm not exactly sure if it is still active or not, but at this is sometime we were checking into this on like 2017 or 2018, I think. So at that time, 4chan was very active. After 4chan, it also seen at the same time in Reddit as well as YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Now, the timestamp were almost overlapping with each other, so we cannot know if it started in Reddit or YouTube or 4chan. But these are, we are assuming all of this, all this particular propaganda was posted in all of this platform at the same time, and after gradually it was propagated to different social media platform in order to attract a larger audience. After this is one of the way. There is other way of introducing a propaganda narrative in online platform. Basically, if you can see in this case, this is a the narrative is towards a renewed imperialist intervention in Libya. Anti-NATO forces retake areas in southern Libya. So basically, this is the narrative, and how this narrative was spread was, it started in a global research. This particular website is actually a very notorious website, and United States Army Research Office actually flagged these websites because most of the cases it has been noticed that these websites are very famous in introducing pro-Russian propaganda. So from the global research, it was all it was also seen in different websites. There was news website. This Workers World is also one of the popular websites as well, in the Facebook, in the Twitter. In all of those things, you can see um, in a different format, but actually, if we look into in a granular way, we will see the same kinds of things were being discussed in all of the social media platform. So basically, this is what the mixed media disseminations of narratives actually propagate. So there is another way is cross media disseminations of content. Cross media disseminations is essentially when there is a content, it actually like in this particular case, it says like US will provide weapons to NATO commandos to attack Ukraine separatists. And now this particular case, if it was seen like that particular uh, narrative was spreaded first in different platforms as videos, as text, and as a tweet as well. And later it was actually came to a this is a actually a global research websites, which I was saying, like a notorious websites. So in this case, according to the requirement, you can say like the opposite incident happened. First, the narrative was introduced in different platforms, and later it was actually accumulated in a social media post. When I say accumulated, it means like it was validated in a global research websites. So this is one of the way the cross media disseminations actually worked. So these are the problems where we have seen, and these problems can be solved with social cyber forensic analysis. Basically, this way or this approach actually gives us an idea by collecting metadata, like it can be web trafficker codes. I mean, Google Analytics ID is something which not all the cases is being followed right now, I mean used right now. But the time I'm talking about, like few years ago, it was very useful to understand um, where this particular website was generated from, and etc. Apart from that, the associated email address, associated IP address, phone numbers, and other details present in social media platform also helps in debunking the connections on how a narrative is generated and how a narrative is getting spread, and how a narrative is actually um, ending up to a certain websites in which specific flow it followed. So this is something is Maltigo, one of the tools we were using at that time to understand these connections, and basically to do all of this social, I mean, cyber forensics analysis. At that time, it was basically it was an open source tool, but for certain privileges you have to pay for the license. I wish I can show this particular tool, but since we discontinued this license, I will not be able to show you the actual tool. But what this tool does is that according to the entity, and again that entity can be a specific person, specific state, country, as well as if we know an email as well. Let's say if I have an email on sainthan.gmail.com, and if I put that email, it will try to give me some connections on how that email was generated, how that email was first registered on, from which IP. All of those certain metadata can be discovered from Maltigo. And obviously those information has to be publicly available, because Maltigo only can show if that information is publicly available. It cannot, like, if there is a firewall behind every information, so it cannot break the firewall and then grab that information and show it to us. So as I was saying, to understand the relationship, Maltigo helps us to discover those connections, hidden connections. um, there is several, if somebody is interested in looking into this, there is a YouTube channel, you can look into that. And basically it's mentioned like which what particular entities you can check: people, group of people, companies, organizations, and etc. So yeah, because I will skip this particular slides since I'm not able to show the actual tool. But yeah, 4 ways to uncover these hidden website relationships, like the things I was showing: cross media disseminations. So network footprinting with the online social network and infrastructure transforms. There are always other ways for doing it, but this was the most mostly use this particular methodology. There are several other ways we can reverse image searching also works. There was website tracking codes with the built with transforms as is there. All of these are certain functions, as I was saying. If there is a paid license, Meltigo gives you certain transformers. With those transformers you can collect this particular metadata like website tracking codes and external links. If there are certain also I remember, um, if you have a particular websites and you put it as an entity in Meltico, it also shows you where that website was first registered. It will show you the place as well. So basically certain it gives you certain perks and like how external links is connected with each other and how basically two different actors are connected. All of those insights can be gathered from Meltigo. So one of the case analysis was this one. As our ongoing project at that time, we received this particular blog websites, Rebel Media, from the agencies. Basically, United States government wanted to see how there was a at the time of Canadian elections, there was a anti-Trudeau campaign was happening, and the stakeholder was interested in understanding like the um, source of those propaganda and the creations of all of those websites. So what we did is that we noticed that this Rebel Media has actually link and like in a visibly link, like in these kinds of thumbnail way, like Trudeau must resign, fakefeminist.com, the libranos.com, campaign2019.com. All of these websites were hosted. So it was like obvious, like there were some fishy websites are connected with this Rebel Media. When we try to put in Maltigo, you can see this is the way you can actually select an entity in Maltigo, and then if you have to specify the name of the website, in this particular case it was the www.rebelmedia. So whenever you try to analyze this, it will give you all of these connections. And after doing certain analysis, we found out that there were nearly 291 fake websites. It was created, and it was created using built with API to just to introduce a anti-Trudeau propaganda in the online space. Surprisingly, we also saw there was a website called wearesorryindia.com. Basically, it was done just to isolate Trudeau from the Indian voter base in Canada and saying all kinds of lies and crazy theories, like if Trudeau wins, what will happen to immigrants and whatnot. So this was the insight we found, and mostly it was filled with the coordinated fake websites. And also in this case, we did a social network analysis. Social network analysis means because we found some keywords which was provided by our subject matter expert and agency. We found out, we collected the all the propaganda related videos, and when we collected the videos, we collected the associated comments which was made on those videos. And this is what we have done. We tried to create a co-commenter network. So basically, when I'm talking about co-commenter network, I think by this time you guys know, like if so let's say I am a user, and there is a video A, and I am a user X, and there is another user Y. So when X and Y are both commenting in the same video, then there will be a connection between X and Y. That is what it's called, co-commenter network. Now here, after building that particular co-commenter network, we noticed that top ranked commenters in this co-commenter network were anti-Trudeau, and like mostly they were somehow they find they were uh, bashing Trudeau as well as the Gerald, his at that time advisor Gerald Butts. Few of the prominent commenters promoted to the People's Party of Canada, Canada's leader like Maxime Brenner, and criticizing all kind of leaders. This is one of the common way of spreading a propaganda, like to take a stance which is neutral, so that the idea is like you cannot point fingers at anyone. So this is one of the things we have noticed here as well, like saying bad things to everyone. Mostly like dominant narrative would be anti-Trudeau, but that being said, other political personals will also be harshly criticized. And also in the top commenters in co-commenter network were extremely conservative in nature. A lot of hateful comments criticizing Trudeau's and his policy, and it also extends to his personal life, his family as well. So this is what we noticed for this particular case. And so another thing we need to know is how to understand if there is any blogs related to, like as this particular project, in this particular project we used to receive sometimes you know um, conspiratory blogs, the blogs which only post about like some wild crazy theories, and about anti-US, pro-Russia, sometimes pro-China as well. So how to identify those blogs? I mean, if there is any other connections, if there is any connections to a specific person who is generating these kinds of blogs. So using Maltigo, we can actually find those things. These are the like workflow we used to follow. Only problem behind this is I cannot show it in the tool, but basically, as I was showing here, if you can see, in this case also, this is a entity we have selected in the platform, which is as a websites. So obviously a blog will be a blog websites, and afterwards if you do a transformer analysis, it will give you the certain connections and how this blog will be connected with different websites. And from these different websites there will be an option to fetch the uh, analytics ID as well. So yeah, it will be difficult to understand just by explanations, but yeah, I'll try my best on this. So basically, websites, as I was saying, you have to use the entity, and then after analysis, we have to go into the tracking codes. Basically, tracking codes, you will end up to the IP address where the blog was first registered, and it gives us an idea about who the person is, what's the intentions, and yeah, and whatnot. So this is another things, like one of the example was this Kinobot RU. This is a Russian websites, and all the pro-Russian and anti-US blogs are always, it's like filled with anti-US sentiments and blogs and etc. So this also we try to understand like how this particular blog website is associated with others, because the association means here if this content of this blog message is getting spreaded to other places as well, and if it is, then how it is connected to others, and how this disinformation is ending up to a mainstream platform like Twitter or Facebook. That was the idea behind this particular task. So when we do the same analysis as I was explaining earlier, we found out that this kind of what Russia.ru is actually um, associated with several websites, which is also hosted in Russian websites. And yeah, so idea behind that was it's to fabricate the perceptions of a virtual crowd. Um, the way for the anti-TDO campaign, we noticed like lots of fake websites was created, just like the idea behind that is you make the informations available to a user as much as possible, so that out of 100 people, if like 20 people even have a doubt in their mind, that's how the propaganda becomes successful. The doubt is actually later turned into a belief, and later it will, that particular users will also cognitively influenced and start sharing as well. So yeah, this is the one. Another is way to do the cyber forensic analysis by finding blog sites from the Twitter handles. So in this case also, this is also a similar kind of analysis. You use a entity. In that particular case, we were selecting it as a website. In this case, it will be a Twitter handle. And from Twitter handle, you can select it as a people as well, specific user name for a user as well. And from that, if you do a transformer analysis, it will give you the affiliated websites, email address, and phone numbers as well, which will give you further insights. So this is another example we worked on at that time. Basically, this was we try to understand. We noticed like this specific person was associated with several websites, which was at that time like sharing anti-US narratives, basically criticizing about US's foreign policies. So we noticed like when we tried to analyze this particular Twitter handle, we noticed this particular Twitter handle is registered in someone's IP. That IP was tracked back to this person's. This also one of the web page was created by this same persons, and both of these particular websites were affiliated to this particular website. So basically, the things is this is a fake person, and this fake persons became a founder of these two fake websites, and these two fake websites is actually being controlled by this particular group. Or it was not a group, I remember it was mostly um, a collection of people who were maintaining this page, and same idea was to um, like introduce the information in as much as possible websites, Twitter, social media platforms. So rather than just normally sharing it, they created a fake persons and make them founder of two different places, so that usually it will not come back to them when some kinds of crazy theories is being introduced. It will always go back to this fake person who does not exist in real world. So another thing is inferring ownership or hidden connection of the website. As I was saying, the way we identified a owner of a Twitter handle actually does not exist, and it was actually being controlled by a different websites or groups. We can do the same thing for the websites as well. Basically, websites means mostly blog posts are the most breeding ground for the conspiratory narrative propaganda spread. So we can do the same thing in this manner, and to understand the hidden connections. This is one of the example. This was basically it was a like identifying bridge bloggers. So this is one of the propaganda which was this was actually not done by me. So this was one of the propaganda was spreading in Latin America area, and afterwards it was noticed like um, both of the narratives or post, same thing was posted in English as well as Spanish. Actually turned out it was done from a same persons but in a different name. But when we did the Maltego analysis, it actually ended up to a same person, which was this one. This was the Google Plus profile was able to be discovered. So yeah, so that is mainly how we did that. Sometimes we also check the associated websites as well. This is one of the things I have done. Um, so there was a propaganda which was introduced in one of the Russian propaganda channel, which was about a very high level Russian intelligence who was detected as a terrorist in several European country was arrested in somewhere, I don't remember the exact place. So to hide that particular incident, they started doing several propagandas, and end of the day, we noticed it started with this particular websites, and afterwards, propaganda usually it spread it through different websites, and at the end we noticed that it's actually associated with Russian Minister of Defense, Alexei Mishalkov, and it was about Jan Petrovsky, who actually the neo-Nazi parliamentary persons who was in. I think he was arrested from somewhere. I don't remember that one. So basically, he was one of the leading person who was trying to um, lead the Russia-Ukraine war, and arrested like while he was in exile. He was arrested in some country and they tried to hide this incidents. And when we tried to find out how they did that, the propaganda was spread to different websites, and all of those websites lead back to the Alexei Mishalskov and Alexander Bednov, two person who is associated with Russian Minister of Defense. So that's the finding here. Also, this is another incident we noticed, like when that particular incident happened in some of the blog websites, traffic suddenly increased. This is just an insight to back up what your evidence is showing. So here we noticed June 23 was the day of the incident, and afterwards the traffic of those blog websites suddenly increased a lot, which gives us an idea like something was introduced there, some kinds of narratives, and in order to amplify, they started sharing those websites more, and that increased the traffic of those particular websites. Same kinds of things we noticed in other cases as well, but I'm not discussing this because this is same thing in a different format as well. So another, while we were doing this Russian related analysis, we noticed some of the websites that Southfront Press and strategicculture.org. So even these websites, by it seems innocuous, but when we tried to dig more, we noticed actually there was a official memo by, I think, Department of Defense of United States, said like this has like this website is already flagged by United States government um, uh, for spreading pro-Russian propaganda and extreme conspiratory theories. So yeah, so this was two of the flags. Yeah, so that is mostly what we have for today. Um, if you have any questions, you can let me know. Okay, I have to stop sharing and then check the link comment. Okay, Richa is asking, I want to ask question regarding disinformation. Yeah, please go ahead, Richa. Can you type it up? Okay, so for people who use VPN to spread misinformations on social media, it is real difficult to track real IPs. Is there any way we can track them? So yeah, so VPN was something the all of this use case, as I was telling, was back in 2015-16. VPN was not that much popular at that time, so that's the reason Maltigo was still working. Because the analytics ID, if a specific website is being indexed in Google, it will always provide you a Google Analytics ID. And that is the reason we were able to find out if find out a specific person or specific organization associated with a conspiratory blog post. Now, because now I have not done this particular analysis in Maltigo, but I think it will be a little bit challenging to track the specific region or specific person who created that particular blog websites or made certain posts. So to answer your question, yes, VPN will make it difficult to track. For a certain users like us as researchers, I don't think we will be able to do it, but I am not sure from the government or policymakers perspective if they have some ways to track them or not. Any other questions? Misinformation and anti-disinformation topics. I am not sure if I talked about anti-disinformations. So misinformation means when you disseminating a informations. Basically, if I say something which is not correct, that is considered as a misinformation. Now there are thin line between misinformation and disinformations. You have to look more into it. But here mostly this particular research was done to track the uh, blog websites and website basically uh, which hosted mostly the conspiratory posts. So that's the thing. Okay, I can see something was written. You didn't, I was confused. Okay, that's good. You took this opportunity. But anti-disinformation campaign, this whole discussion was supposed to be on the misinformation. Anti-disinformation is something when we are trying to debunk if it is a misinformation or not. So yeah, I clearly it seems like there is a communication gap. I hope I was able to answer your questions. So any other questions? Okay, I think if that's all, we can
Thank
wrap
you.
it up.
Thank you, Santan. If anybody has any other questions or concern, please feel free to write us. I think our email is there on the blackboard. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening.